Thank you very much, Miel, for the introduction. My name is Andrew Barendrecht. I can finally pronounce my name the way it's supposed to when I'm over here. I do respond to every variation of my last name, so especially working in the States, I hear every single variation you could ever think of. My presentation is around applying social media, social enterprise in the oil and gas industry. The oil and gas industry is quite a complex industry. If you talk to an average person in the oil and gas, they would compare themselves to putting something on the moon is the same as drilling a hole in the earth. And to that level is the type of environment that we're dealing with. It's very complex. There's very complex logistics, very diverse environment, diverse range of people and skills that are necessary to really enable this. The Apache Corporation itself, it's a small independent company, so it's not as large as the majors such as the Shells and the BPs, but it focuses primarily at finding the oil and producing the oil and selling the oil. So the main focus that we really have is trying to make sure that we optimize that process, trying to ensure that we know where the oil is, trying to ensure that we get to the oil, and try to ensure that we can get the oil out of the ground to the customer and eventually to the gas station. So Apache itself is globally dispersed. We're all over the place, from Argentina to Egypt to Australia, Canada. Very, very diverse types of environments, but in some cases very, very much the same. We work very autonomously, or at least that's how we've always operated in the past, but we're looking to tie the range of expertise that we have divided all over the world in a common fashion of collaboration, and that's really what this presentation is all about. We grow very, very aggressively. We acquire on quite a regular basis smaller companies. We've recently acquired some lots in the North Sea from Exxon. We acquired something from Denver that was just released today as well. We're really, really quite aggressively going after the business that we're in. So we're looking to grow quite aggressively. The mentality of the kind of average Apache person is a charge ahead mentality. Now this means not to just run forward without looking. It means taking the job seriously and getting the job done. Delivery is extremely key to our business and making sure that you deliver in time and as fast and as safe as possible. If you look at our corporate values, it's quite different to the average company, oil and gas company. What's really jumps out is to foster a contrarian spirit. We really do enjoy being contrary, not only within the oil and gas business and doing things different, but also internally. We do challenge each other. We do have active discussions. We look to push the boundaries in the business that we're in. We look to invest in our people, which is very much the social media, social enterprise is quite important here. And we succeed with a sense of urgency. So these are extremely strong words for a company to embrace. It really is, again, focusing on the bottom line and ensuring that you deliver. The social opportunity that we started with before we went forward is in the drilling and completions area. Drilling and completions purely focuses on getting to the oil and then ensuring that you can produce the oil. So in 2010, we spent $2 billion literally drilling the hole and ensuring that it's ready for production. Now, 25% of that are trouble costs, where typically you slow down because of logistics or because you have to change out a drill bit as you're drilling through the earth. This really can take time and really gives a high amount of cost for you to operate. If you look at the assets that we operate around the world, there are some assets that cost typically $500,000 a day to operate. So if you slow down or stop for one day, you lose $500,000. So the case of learning and sharing is very, very, very strong in our industry. The principles that we started out with, really looking at how can we address and optimize our business, is to look to bring some level of structure to these autonomous units around the world, but still keep that contrarian spirit, that passion to actually get the job done. We secondly looked at keeping a very lean environment and a lean technology to ensure that this happens. Now, the main focus here is that we didn't look to build our own technologies or do in-house developments, we looked for a company to partner with, and the company is TIBco and their tibbr product, to actually enable our social networking. We did not see the point in keeping these things in-house. We wanted to move fast. We wanted to partner with a company that really had a very fast development cycle and a very fast and innovative mindset. So we looked quite around, and we really landed finally on the product tibbr. The third point that we really looked at is don't raise the bar. Don't raise the bar for the average user. As over time, more and more collaboration comes into play, our collaborative environments actually become more complex, not as simple as they used to be. Everyone started building portals. Your portal has everything you'd ever want or ever don't want to have in one view. And it becomes very busy and very in-your-face type of environment. What we wanted to simplify it down, bring it down to the level that the average user can really use this environment without any training whatsoever. That was really, really key. So again, we looked for a social media type of interface that would be able to do this, so that the training would not be too much. We really looked actually to take, a lot of us have iPads in this room, is to take the Sunday experience that you typically have with your iPad at home, and then you go to work and you often find the more archaic systems. And we're trying to take that Sunday experience into the Monday experience and kind of foster that type of way of thinking. Within Apache ourselves, we have, all of us have iPhones, all of us have iPads to be able to connect directly into the network, and we utilize the social technology that way. So that kind of brings us to number 4. We really want to have it available in every means possible, everywhere, any place, any time. Now, in the average industry, it might be quite straightforward within your office. In the oil and gas industry, we are in very, very extreme locations. We have people out in the field drilling for oil in the desert. We have people up in the ice environment. We have people down in Argentina, really very, very isolated locations. But what we want to do is be able to connect these people in actively in the global dialogue. So if they have something they have a question about, or they need any help out in the field, we want them to be able to walk up to any situation they have, take a picture from their iPhone, and post it directly into our social networks and look for the answers from their colleagues around the world. And that's what we're looking to do right now, and that's what we have done already to date. Again, the idea of trying to do this, we really looked at how the social media enabled all the revolutionary change in North Africa. And it kind of started us thinking of, this is how we want to start our own revolution within the company. We want to leverage the fact that Facebook-type technologies, LinkedIn-type technologies can connect your people faster, bring people together, and enable collaboration faster. So in looking at how we personally addressed it, we looked at what we call a structured revolution. Now, this is often very dependent on the type of company that you're dealing with. Most companies, a full revolution is quite appropriate, where you release the social media within your company. The barrier is very low. You don't have to have a training program for your whole corporation. Anyone that has ever seen or touched Facebook can use it automatically. Now, there's always a generation, always a group of people that don't use Facebook, actually don't like Facebook or like any type of similar tools. And that's where we have bridging technologies. We have the ability to have people participate in our social tools through email. So they never have to actually touch the social tool itself. They can get a response or a response to any type of notification from the social media and reply to it, and it goes straight back into the system. So they're never even exposed to the fact that it goes into a common system. So that's very, very important in our industry. Our industry, typically, you have a lot of people over 50 that are highly active in the oil and gas, and you've got a younger generation coming up below 30. There's a very wide gap between that, and it's highly essential for us to get the skills of the over 50s to the younger generation as fast as possible. So again, the number one driver for this is to embrace the technology that the younger generation is using. Now, so we went ahead and we started with the drilling group. The drilling group has the social opportunities, as I mentioned in an earlier slide. So we wanted to get starting right away. Now, kicking off the drilling pilot was extremely easy. We were looking for an environment that we could start literally within a day. We wanted to kick it off, be able to use it within our community of 300 to 400 people. So we looked around and we found that, again, tibbr was one of the very key tools that we could set up very fast in a secure manner in the cloud. So we had an external instance running in the cloud within a day. We were able to all run it off our iPhones within 2 or 3 hours, and everything was up and running right there and then. We did it in collaboration with our legal and our finance and other folks to ensure that this was, a correct, secure environment in the cloud. Then we took, once we've enabled this, we took a centralized team. We have a team of centralized experts within drilling that have 30 to 35 years plus experience in drilling, and we had them facilitate and actually share some of the recommended practices. We don't call them best practices. In our type of culture, that really can be quite destructive if you call things best practices and it comes from a central organization. The people out in the regions, they want to be autonomous, they want to feel that they make the choice to apply a practice or not. So the wording becomes quite interesting. Third point, again, we don't want to impose corporate processes and culture, partly because we're contrarian, partly because we're not that large yet, so we don't need to, but partly because the industry is changing. There is a flexibility in process design needed. So any process we design, we might have to change tomorrow. So we want to be able to be flexible on our feet, be able to communicate without any heavy structures. Again, that's where our social media tool comes in. It hits on very, very wide range of different levels for our environment. Now, this is just highlighting how our deployment went. We started globally dispersed, no collaboration, no expertise that we're aware of. We didn't even know what the people we had, what their expertise were, because we acquire so fast. We have a very wide range of mix of people from different backgrounds, different companies, different industries even. So we did the pilot in drilling. Again, that started within a month. We had it up and running within a month, globally dispersed, around 400 people actively using it. We're now deploying it further through the rest of the corporation up to the 4,000 people. Just to highlight, how things are developing and how we're actually trying to jump the revolution, so to speak. Traditionally, information management goes back, 30, 40 years, where we structurally share documents. Around the 90s, knowledge management came in, communities of practice, how do you interact with each other, virtual teams. And then the social media in the last couple of years has started to kick in and really enable how we share. Every single box of these, the timeline shrinks. So you start with document management and sharing document management, and it took years to implement those type of systems in companies. Now we're reaching the point of social media that you can almost turnkey a social media system and have it available the next day. Now the next area that we're really focusing on is social intelligence. We want to take the social media and all the interaction around it and intelligently deal with the wide range of communication channels and information streams that come to an average user. So we actually look to bring in multiple areas of content and information to one social environment. So as Neil said, typically it's divided from the work that you do daily. We don't see it that way. We see that everything of your work goes into the stream. And you have active filters to be able to filter what you get and what you can decide on. And you have social intelligence that actually filters further, which I'll highlight a little bit later. So the areas of focus for us from a technology point of view are these. There are quite a wider range that we're looking at right now, but what we went for with these things, enterprise activity streaming. Enterprise activity streaming is different than having a social media interface. There's a very wide range of social media applications. Everyone is doing a social media application. But having that interface is only the first step of the low barrier of training. The second step is bringing content and information together from various sources to enable a person's job. And that can be everything from static systems to external notifications to partnering areas, a whole range of different environments. Secondary, we wanted to have something in the cloud. We want to embrace our partners, our service companies, and other groups. We wanted to have it mobile. We wanted it available at every time, at all times. We were looking at situational and social intelligence. Situational intelligence is if you're out in the field and you're taking a picture, we want the person out in the field to be able to when it takes the picture, the GPS location is posted along with that in the social media. So we know where the person is. We know what is happening at that point in time, right there and then. We start with pictures. We look for video streaming in time. That will enable us to do distance training. Will be able to us to do distance inspections. There's a whole range of applications that we're really looking into now in tying into the social media stream. Social intelligence I'll highlight a little bit later, but it really looks at how you interact as a community, how you interact as a person, and gives you recommendation. I kind of call that the recommendation engine from Amazon, but on steroids. So in Amazon, you buy a book about process management, it suggests you process management books. What we're looking to do is truly analyze what you're looking at, what the context is, and understand what contextually you can be suggested, what can be suggested to you content-wise, but also other things. Further communication, real-time sharing, we want to be able to share our desktops. We want to have video conferencing. We want to be able to have a video conferencing with multi-parties across the world, but don't have a different tool for that. So we're working with the tool tibbr, which is also part of the tibbr suite, which enables us to create a video conference on the fly, share a desktop, and it's automatically translated into a video file that posts directly into Stream without us having any intervention. That's always been the thing that's always frustrated me the most. We always have the Microsoft tools, for example, that do these wonderful types of sharing, but then you get a tool that you can only open in Microsoft. You can't post it into any of your other collaborative environments. You can't share across these applications. With tibbr and tibbr, these things become much more integrated. Another reason why we chose this product. We looked at communities of practice, virtual teams, communities of practice very much around the skill sets that we have around the world. We have the drilling community is the example that I used. We want to share experiences and we want to find experiences of people and understand what they actually know. You'll always discover the gem out in the field of someone that did it 50 years ago or 20 years ago that has that experience and can tell you what happened back then. The oil industry in some cases really doesn't change. The earth hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. So experience out in the field from a certain area is very, very key. Finally, we look to integrate our document management. Again, we want to make sure that everything that we use for our collaboration integrates into the social stream. We will look that if I post something in our social media environment and I attach a file, I want that file to be able to be stored in the correct document management system. This becomes quite important to our legal folks. It becomes very important from a records management compliance point of view. So we want to enable that and make sure that they're happy as we use this collaborative environment. This is really kind of the slide that shows all the different cases as an example of the tibbr environment that we have. As you can see, it operates very similar to a combination of tibbr and Facebook. When you post pictures, it's embedded in the stream itself. If you look at the different cases, we look internal and external. We don't distinguish between both. We don't say, we're only going to have our internal systems communicate with each other and our external systems. Me as a driller, I would like to know everything that's happening that's relevant to me. We're looking to socialize our static information as well. If something happens in a system that we want to hear about, we want to have those notifications and events triggered into the social stream and socialize it and be able to discuss it. Again, it's very key if something happens out in the field that you want input on, you want to be able to take that event and share it with global experts and your global community within 2 seconds. So we're looking for applications alerts. There's a whole range of applications that you use as a driller. So anything that changes around, designing a well, when you drill actually the well, you want to be flagged when certain changes are made to a design. You want to be able to have a collaboration with your team about it. You want to have that virtual team working as a project team or as a departmental team where you share certain items. You want to share recommended practices from the specialists or even from the field that they share it back and can be incorporated into recommended practices. EHS, environmental health and safety. We have alert systems when things are happening. We have alert systems from the industry itself. We have alert systems from our own industry. We look to combine them into the social media as one stream. Again, integrated stream is what it's all about. Community sharing, again, as I mentioned before, all the drillers being able to communicate globally with each other. Now, external, we look for industry alerts. So we're looking for the EHS types of alerts when something is defined as a new standard that we have to adhere to. We want to get notified straight away. We want the community to know straight away. Joint ventures, oil and gas industry is a very, from an investment point of view, risky environment. So you often enter into joint ventures to mitigate the risk. But that means you have to collaborate with with other parties and other companies. So again, we would take our collaborative environments with our joint ventures as well. External news, we look to actually monitor all the range of oil and gas magazines that are out there and content providers. And if there's anything of interest that comes from them, we actually stream that into our environment, and we can filter those and share those where we need to with our different communities. Partner projects, we look to actually utilize this tool to partner with universities. We often work together with universities on certain projects. And then finally, service companies. We're actually working closely with the oil and gas service companies, where we're asking them to take their content that they typically have dispersed in their own websites, to put it into a collaborative site for us, where they share all the technical documentation, all the new technologies that they have available for our whole company. Now, traditionally, this happens through one focal point within the company. So that one focal point gets all the different documentation and decides whether or not it gets distributed to the company or not. With this opportunity, they can post into the stream, and as a support to that, we actually make that available to the whole company. So they don't have to sell to one person. They have a direct channel to everyone within the company. Now, finally, I want to highlight the social intelligence. This is a mock-up that will go live probably in the next 4 weeks or so within our environment. And this is the social intelligence. And this is where we're really pushing the boundaries to the next level. So what we have is that we have a posting. We have a kind of a little idea icon, which actually gives you the recommendations. And if you click on that, it will suggest posts that are similar to the post that you're looking at or discussing. It also will suggest other subjects within the tool that are of interest to you. It will suggest people that might be of interest to you, and it will suggest files from the document management system that's relevant to you. So this is our way of bringing different discussions, different streams, and different elements together in one environment. And it's a highly intelligent engine that actually follows you and understands what you look at, what you've downloaded. We have a like option. If you like something, it highlights that and understands the content and finds other relevant content. Traditionally, with our systems, when we talk about collaboration and communities of practice, we always used to say, before you post something, search the system for any relevant posts that might be the same, because the answer might already be out there. And then once you found it, you don't have to post it again. We're turning that around. We say now, always post. Doesn't matter if anyone's asked a question before. When you post, the recommendation engine automatically will pull up those entries for you. The interest for us is, if someone still posts, is to understand that if a question gets asked again and again and again, there's clearly a gap within the training and the skill set within a specific group or specific younger generation that we need to address more systematically rather than them having to ask the questions. That means we have to adjust our training. So we look at those type of trends to understand how we can train people better.